be referred to as CAPEX projects. Part of the city's budget makes provision for programs such as community library services, energy efficiency demand management, neighborhood development partnerships, public transport infrastructure systems, electricity and water losses, public lighting, rehabilitation and upgrading of roads, storm water management, construction of clinics, water and wastewater bulk infrastructure, extension of reservoirs, electricity new bulk infrastructure. It is important to note that the city's revenue basket takes into account the proposed tariff increments for the financial year. This is to ensure that every expenditure item included in the budget will be funded through the anticipated revenue to be generated. There are a number of factors affecting the tariff increases, which include inflation and bulk purchase costs from Rand Water and Eskom. Revenue generation is critical to the financial sustainability for the city, and tariffs play a major role in achieving desired levels of revenue. It is therefore important that all consumers of services honor their obligation towards the city in terms of payment of consumer accounts to ensure that the city is able to generate revenue to continue to render services.
Delays in terms of verification and approving of invoices to allow payments, but I think there has been some improvement from the liquidity position. What we're also doing to try and ensure that creditors are I think, managed accordingly. We sign payment arrangements with all of them. There is constant communication, and there's much improvement on that aspect. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, thank you. So, as recommended, Councillor Mabisela.
If there is no further question, we'd like to add additional recommendation, which read as follows: that presentation be scheduled with impact to discuss the SAP for HANA project and the financial recovery plan, and the plan to get the creditors paid within 30 days. It is proposed myself, Councillor Municipal, and seconded by Councillor Karabo Simfe. Thank you.
So the additional recommendation is that a presentation be scheduled with impact to discuss SAP for HANA project and present the financial recovery plan, and also a plan to get the creditors paid within 30 days. This is proposed by Councillor Rodney Mabusela and seconded by Councillor Karabo Simfeng. As amended. Okay, so now we move on to report number 2. This is a report from Office of the Speaker, Oversight Report on the City Strategy and Organizational Performance Department, Local Government Municipal Finance Management Act, Section 52D, Quarter 2, and Section 72, Mid-Year Budget and Performance Assessment Report on the implementation of the Service Delivery and Implementation Plan, SDBIP. This is between page 41 to 306. The recommendations are on page 50. As recommended. Okay, so now we'll move on to report number 3. This is from Office of the Speaker, Group Audit and Risk Department. Request Council to approve the City of Tshwane Integrity Management Framework. This report is between page 307 to 434, recommendations on 315. Councillor Randall.
Yes, good morning. Thank you, Chairperson. Just a few remarks. I don't want to go into too much detail because we're going to come with a recommendation that we be furnished with a report on the status of the implementation. But when I looked at the original item that served in council, we had comments from the Chief of Police in terms of the MISS that was currently underway and how it would then have to tie up with our IMF. So there's a few policies also not in place yet, which we want, which we would appreciate a list of. When I went through this framework, I picked up a few policies, a few committees that is really not in place at the moment. So just trying to elaborate on what specifically we would be looking at for in a follow-up or in a status report later this year. And then also a specific focus on your procurement fraud, which is the largest proportion of criminal activities. I did not pick up any mention of the city's open tender process and how it can potentially contribute to less corrupt and fraudulent supply chain management activities, and how institutionalized it is in the city of Tshwane or not at the moment, and how easily accessible tender adverts and awards and bid registers are at this stage for our community, who's one of our main stakeholders in terms of fighting corruption. I also needed to see probity auditing in this report that we will be calling for in terms of how it's been conducted by independent auditors, how it has saved the city money, how it has deterred corruption. Also vetting not only of your seniors from, I think it's deputy director or director level upwards, but also to be applicable to supply chain management officials, as we know that might also assist with deterring corruption. Chair, without further ado, then can I, with your, sorry.
Yes, we will also allow Group Audit and Risk to react to your comments. Councillor Farquharson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As normal, I'm going to be mean and petty. I went through the IMF and I noticed that the wrong legislation is being used to refer to impact. The legislation now is 79A. So there are a couple of little issues like this where there's a little bit of ambiguity. We as a committee to help have adopted Circular 76 and Circular 121. So in the recommendation, we're going to ask that this be compared against the circulars because there's some interesting things in Circular 121 that are not covered when staff members and contractors have done wrong. So it is in the recommendation. Thank you, Chair, for letting me be petty.
Yeah, no, I know we went through a lot of effort to amend our terms of reference and become a Section 79A, so it's only right that Group Audit and Risk recognize that. But I'll allow the CAE to react to both Councillor Randall and yourself, Councillor Farquharson's comments. Over to you, CAE.
Chairperson, good morning, councillors, Chairperson of APC, colleagues. On the first question, Chairperson, the policies which might not be available in the integrity management framework in the plan. So if you look at the plan that we've submitted, it's a 3-year plan. So we've indicated the activities that will be performed in the first year, which is 2024-25, in the following year, 25-26, and in 26-27. So the miss, it's amongst others, the items that is aligned to be developed and approved in the next financial year, not in the current year. And other policies which will have not been in existence, Chairperson, are planned to be covered within the space of 3 years. In terms of the laws or the regulations which are highlighted there, I'll need to go back, Chairperson, and look at the legislations and I'll align with the recommendations of this committee if I will have used the wrong legal legislative framework. Thank you.
Okay, and thank you. Let's take the recommendation, Councillor Randall.
Thank you, Chairperson. The additional recommendations that a report recommendation 4, that a report on the progress of the implementation of the IMF be submitted to MPAC in October, in our October meeting. Additional recommendation 5, that the IMF be compared with Circular 76 and 121 to ensure compliance. Proposed by myself, Councillor Randall, seconded by Councillor Fulkerson. Thank you.
Okay, and the additional recommendation is that a progress report on the implementation of the IMF be submitted to MPAC in October, that the IMF be compared with Circular 76 and Circular 121 to ensure compliance. This is proposed by Councillor A.M. Randall and seconded by Councillor D. Farquharson. As amended. Okay, so now, colleagues, what we are going to do, we'll put off the confidential matters for now. We will do that at the end so that we don't have to have people moving in and out. I'll just go to item number 7, where we've got new items that we've added on the agenda. This is part of helping us be compliant as a committee with recommendations from the AG. So going forward, every month we will have this item and we'll expect the relevant departments to provide the reports for these items. This is a UIF case register of the City of Tshwane, 8, consequence management and accountability report, 9, progress reports from the Executive Audit and Tracking Committee. So going forward, this is something that was added during the month. We don't have that expectation that the reports would have been ready, but going forward in our September meeting, we expect the departments to submit these reports, and this, like I said, is going to be a standing item for our committee. Okay, so calling of reports and the confidential items will be done at the end. We will now move on to the first supplementary agenda. So on the first supplementary agenda, the first report, this is from Office of the Speaker Oversight Report on Group Finance Services Department, Supply Chain Management Tender Deviation Report for October 2023-2024 financial year. This is between page 4 to 8. Recommendations are on page 8. As recommended, Councillor Farquharson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've got a few questions. The first question is the stamp on this document authentic? It looks like somebody's written over to change the date. It doesn't look very good to me. The second question is from the Chief Financial Officer and Human Resources. If there is tender deviation that might be irregular, wasteful, fruitful, unauthorized expenditure, we would expect that Human Resources and the Chief Financial Officer would have a comment to make. whether it has been reported for investigation, whether disciplinary processes are contemplated. So we've just been going through the IMF, and I find it troubling that we have this beautiful framework, but we aren't seeing all the departments working in sync. So that's my question to Chief Financial Officer and Human Resources. Why are you not commenting? Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Farquharson. Councillor, I don't know if it was Councillor Mabusela or Councillor Simthing, and then...
No, thanks, Chairperson. Chair, I think this is one of the deviation that concerned me. If you read under 6.2 of the report, under the financial response, which I align my view with their response, is that this deviation was established with the premise that bypassing the standard supply chain procurement process would result in savings for the city. I think that was the reason when the deviation was submitted, that not following the standard supply chain processes, then it could result in the city saving money. But Chairperson, if we are dealing with Regulation 36 here, which deals of MFNA, which deals with deviations, and is clear in terms of how regulation need to go. The first reason is that for a deviation to be approved, then it means that there should be an emergency, and that emergency could not be avoided. And supply chain policy further of the municipality further established in line with MFMA Regulation 36. So I want to ask a question that saving money in a form of a deviation, is it regulated? The first question, is it regulated? And if it is, where that regulation emanates from? That is the first question that I want to ask. In terms of savings, the concern is that there's no breakdown of what the city saved as a result of this deviation. Perhaps you can clarify us in secondly on that particular matter. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Mabusela. Councillor Randall.
Yes, thank you, Chair. My question would be just straightforward. In other spheres of government, when you get a report on deviations, the contract extensions and the applications for contract extensions is always included. I find it interesting that here there's nothing. I don't know if Impact previously called for reports on the application for extension of contracts, whether there would have been cost overruns, whether there would have been cost savings, as my colleague indicated, and whether going forward we might maybe include it in our process plan or call for the quarterly reports on not only deviations, but also on applications received for the extension of a contract with reasons and potential cost overruns implicated. Added. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Randall. I'll allow Finance to respond to those questions. Oh, sorry, Councillor Bushielo.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chairperson. I don't want to repeat on what my colleagues have already spoken about, but this report is a clear indication of the abuse of the deviation processes, or the abuse abuse of regulation section 32, 36. So, you see, the problem is, if you look at the reason that were advanced in terms of embarking on the deviation process, they are clearly falling outside the scope of the regulation. So I think we need to be able to check how much are we going to hold people accountable, so that in future we need to avoid this kind of an abuse of the deviation process, because clearly whoever has embarked on this deviation process, he or she might be aware what the conditions or the time, or at what point are we supposed to invoke that particular regulations. So if they are saying they are saving the cost, because the report is not very clear how much was anticipated to be saved, the cost, which in any case should not be the reason why we embark on this kind of deviation. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you, Councillor Bushielo. Over to Finance.
Chairperson, thank you so much. I think the first one, in terms of the authenticity of this stamp, maybe the writing over that might have caused some issues, but we can confirm that this are part and parcel of the city's internal controls. The second matter around how we deal with UIFW and consequence management at large is that we have come up with a new process where at year end we work hand in hand with CAE once we receive audited sets of statements in order to curb inconsistency of information that goes to MPAC and any other committee of council. Once we receive audited stamped financial statements with the UIFW fully being disclosed and audited as the final figures, we then embark on the processes which have seen us recently having deal with fruitless and wasteful unauthorized expenditure. Irregular is still in the process of being dealt with on a consequence management perspective. So that's the approach we intend to follow in order to ensure that the data that is used as a baseline is consistent throughout. It's pointless to bring information as and when throughout the financial year if it hasn't been validated or authenticated by an independent audit structure like the Auditor General. So we presume that this is the best way of trying to deal with it in order to ensure consequence management from now moving forward. So we are confident that for the financial year 23-24, all UIFW expenditure, once we've received those financial statements, we will then be referring those to GAV for the investigations, which will then filter through to MPAC and all other committees of council. On the second aspect, in terms of this deviation which occurred in the first quarter of the financial year, I think ideally deviations are not endorsed unless it's an exceptional circumstance. In this particular case, the city would have to be in a position to prove value for money in terms of the deviation, which was opted for to directly engage these service providers as opposed to have embarked on a new tender process. But of course, it then opens up the city to further scrutiny, further justification, and it's a process that we can assure you is not endorsed in any time moving forward from the second quarter moving forward. Deviation of this nature is the first and last that you will see in this financial year. Any other deviations are emanating from alternative reasons other than this is a sole supplier, there's no one else. So in this particular case, the milk has been spilt. The city will now have to be in a position to ensure that it's able to prove value for money as a result of this exercise that was followed. And then lastly, in terms of the applications for contract extensions, we are guided by Circular 62 for argument's sake, which gives a clear guideline on the processes that the city needs to follow as a result of expansion of contracts or increasing variation of scope. We are limited to about 15% for operational contracts and 20% for construction-related contracts. So bulk of the extension that you see don't come as a deviation because they're within those thresholds that are applicable from National Treasury regulations, which Council has endorsed and is part and parcel of our policy. Anything above this, it is then reported as a deviation and it does filter through to MPAC. But I think we can be in a position to also provide to all reports from a contract extension with the reasoning behind some of those. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Parkinson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just would like to ask the gentleman to refer to the third supplementary agenda, report number 3, the Group Legal and Secretariat Services report. It does give a different view that value for money is not an important issue. So I do ask that he looks at that report, just to check that we're on the same page. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Can we do that when we get to that report? As recommended? Councillor Madison?
Yeah, no, Chair, thank you. You know, when the CFO was responding, and then we had some thought, because see, at the impact, we all agree that the information in terms of how much it was saved, it is not included. Therefore, want to ask, I'm not sure how we're going to do, to get a follow-up report detailing as to how deviation saved the city money. And we can interrogate this in the next impact meeting. Thank you.
Okay, CFO, was there any money saved from this?
Chairperson, I think that detailed assessment will still need to be undertaken. We will work with CME in terms of making a determination on that. Of course, we'll have to base this on the city's market analysis, which has been conducted previously, which informed the reasoning behind this decision. So I think we'll work together with CME in terms of trying to quantify the savings, if any.
Okay, thank you. As recommended. Councillor Sinteng.
Chair, we're busy drafting additional recommendation here, Chair.
Oh, okay. Do you want me to give you some time and move on to the next report, then we'll come back to this one?
You may, Chair.
We'll So we'll come, while they draft the recommendation, we'll go to the second report. This is an oversight report from Group Financial Services Department, irregular expenditure for the fourth quarter 2022-2023 financial year. This is between page 9 to 34. The recommendations are on page 14. As recommended. Okay. On the second item, remember Karabo and Rodney are still drafting their recommendation. So to save time, we've moved on to item number 2. We are on the first supplementary agenda, report number 2. Yes.
My apology. I just want to clarify. I suspect that the CFO included reports in here for investigation that has a zero amount that has been awarded, which I agree with because it can still be investigated. The fact that it's a zero amount at this point in time doesn't matter. Can I just get clarity that we are all on the same page and that this will be referred to Group Audit and Risk? And when Group Audit and Risk, they will not investigate because there's a zero amount awarded. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions before we go to finance? Okay, CFO.
Chair, I think we'll take notes of those comments from the Honourable Councillor Adnan Sati.
Okay, Great, as recommended. Okay, Karabo and Councillor Simpeng and Councillor Rodney, are you ready with our recommendations, or should we move to the third report? Okay, they're still on that recommend.
Well done, Chairperson.
Okay, yeah, let's do recommendations for report number 1.
We would like to recommend, Chairperson, that the additional report be detailing how the city saved money from the deviation be provided in the next MPEC meeting in September, proposed by Councillor Municipal, seconded by Councillor Simpeng.
Okay, and the additional recommendation is that the additional report be provided detailing how the city saved money from the deviation in the, this report should be sent to MPEC in the next meeting of September. This is proposed by Councillor Rodney Mabusela, seconded by Councillor Karabo Simpeng. As amended. Yes, Councillor.
I just wanted to check this additional recommendation. How is it differ from the recommendation number 3?
I think they are quite similar. Maybe it was just for emphasis, Councillor Bushel. It's exactly.
Yeah, I think they must explain to us why is it different from that recommendation.
Okay.
Because to me is the same.
Yes, Councillor.
No, Chairperson. We see recommendation number 3, which reads as follows: that the department is hereby required to furnish MPEC with evidence or a detailed breakdown showing the amount saved through this deviation. Such report must be submitted in the next meeting of September to facilitate transparency and accountability in the procurement processes. It's issue of semantics, Comrade Michelle, and therefore I want to say there is much different. It's just an issue of semantics. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Let us now go to report number 3. This is from Office of the Speaker, Municipal Public Accounts Committee MPEC Process Plan. Okay, so we have done that. We've adopted the process plan. It was attached. You would have noticed that there was an error, so that was moved up on the first, on the main agenda. So we'll go to report number 4. This report is from Human Settlements Department, progress report on the claim pursued by the city for the losses incurred in the Atteridgeville Extension 19 houses project for the elderly and persons living with disabilities, construction of 40 mayoral houses using alternative building technology, ABT. This report is between page 59 and 200. The recommendations are on page 63. Councillor Dube.
Thank you, Chair. We just have an additional recommendation, but we will do that after the presentation by the department. Thank you.
Okay. If there are no other questions, I'll allow the, I think it's Ms. Nkadimeng that is standing in for Group Head Memela, just to give us a brief of what was happening with this report.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning to councillors and colleagues in the meeting. So the report provides an update of the progress made with regards to the claim that the city is pursuing against the previous contractor, Kulani Quality Construction, in respect of the losses that we incurred on the project due to poor performance of the contractor. So the project took longer than anticipated, and as a result, the city even had to appoint an additional contractor to rectify the shortcomings that were on the project. And the project has now been concluded. We have 40 houses that are compliant in terms of the NHRBC standards, and also the beneficiaries have been issued with letters of saying that the houses are compliant and now they can live with their houses without any fear. And the project was concluded in May, and it was launched by the mayor, I think it was on the 23rd of May. So as it is, we have submitted a final claim to our legal department to start the process of pursuing a claim against the previous contractor. The legal department has requested additional documents from the department, including detailed breakdown of what the second contractor spent on the project, which we have submitted. We are just struggling to find the documents that related to the appointment of the first contractor, but we're working closely with SCM to get those documents. So in short, the claim is being pursued. The legal department has received all the other documentation that they require to start the process, and we will be submitting the tender documents as soon as we get them from our SCM so legal can actually start the process. So in terms of the total amount that we are pursuing from the previous contractor is 3,711,874 rands. This is in line with the calculations that we received from the consulting engineer, taking into consideration the work, the items that needed to be rectified, as well as additional work that was undertaken on the project. And in terms of the recommendations of the report, we're saying that the department, the committee must take cognizance of the report, of the detailed report on the claim against the previous contractor for the losses incurred on the project and the amount to be claimed, amounting to 3,711,874 rand, and the current status of the claim. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Dube and Councillor Sinteng and Councillor Mabusela.
Thank you, Chairperson. Just, when you read this report, you will realize that, in fact, the problem started when they were appointing the contractor. The report is clear that the bid adjudication committee's decision to recommend Kulani Quality Construction for the project, despite the contractor's failure to adhere to the regulations of the National Home Builders Registration Council. This, I think it was the problem which led to this non-compliance, which, from where I'm sitting, Chairperson, it requires further investigations. As much as we are agreeing with the city pursuing the claims against the service provider, the same need to be done with the people who recommended this construction, appointment of this construction internally. So I want to ask the colleague there that, apart from pursuing this claim, what other actions are you doing in ensuring that those who are held responsible, who are fund wanting, are held responsible? This is the first question, because I had spoke about pursuing the claim with the contractor. It's fine, we can do that. But the problem started internally here, according to this report. So please respond on that, ma'am, to say what are additional actions are you taking to deal with who are found wanting internally? Thank you.
And thank you, Councillor Mabusela. Councillor Simping.
Thank you, Chair. My question is just based on the outstanding documents that are required in order to pursue this claim. My question is, how long has these documents been outstanding, and the likelihood of when we'll be in a position to get those documents? I think the most difficult issue to comprehend is the fact that the appointment letter is the main document that are outstanding and it's still missing. How can such a crucial document just disappear like that or be difficult to trace? Thank you, Chair.
Okay, I'm going to allow Ms. Ngadiming to respond. I think, Marie, you come with recommendations. Ms. Ngadiming.
Well, thank you, Chairperson. Let me start with the second question. We do have the appointment letter. It has been submitted to legal. What we are still missing is the tender documents. The actual tender documents that Kulani submitted to the city to undertake this work. We do have the evaluation report, which has also been submitted. How long have these documents been outstanding? I wouldn't say that they've been outstanding for long, because we've been working in the past 2 weeks with SCM to trace them so that we can submit them to legal. So I would say that before the end of next week, we should be able to have gathered all the documentation that legal requires and submitted to them. The first one is with regards to what we are doing as a department with regards to the BEC or the BAC of the time. I am not aware of any action that is taken by the department, and but I'll relay this to my group head, because I don't know if the action should really come from the department or what's the process to follow. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Bushela.
Yeah, I do have one question. These contracts also indicates that these projects, because it has taken longer time, almost 3 years, before they could identify what could be the problem. I think my other concern is that it seems there is a lack of proper contract management, because if they could have identified earlier on, this project could have been completed at least a bit earlier. I just wanted to check how are they going to do to ensure that they tighten the proper contract management system. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bushelo. Ms. Ngadiming, back to you.
Thank you, Councillor. I think it's known in the city that the Department of Human Settlements really is bleeding when it comes to capacity. And we also have a lot of projects that we have to manage throughout the city. We have been working with the EPMU in the past in terms of them augmenting our capacity, especially when it comes to project management. But also we have advertised 1 or 2 positions, but still in terms of the quantum of work that we still need to do, or the quantum of work that we do, because we work with all the services. We do water projects, we do sanitation projects, we also do roads and stormwater projects. And we only have, currently, we have about 5 project managers with the amount of budget we have, but there is a plan of capacitating the department to ensure that we actually are able to deliver our projects and we're able to have proper contract management. There has also been attempts by EPMU to organize training and capacity capacitating project managers when it comes to contract management. And I must say that there has been a lot of improvement in the department when it comes to contract management and ensuring that we adhere to the provisions of the contracts. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think everyone has clarified. Are there any other questions, or can we move on to recommendations? Councillor Jube.
Thank you, Chair. Additional recommendation that this item be referred to Group Audit and Risk for further investigation. The proposer is myself, Councillor Marie Baer, and the seconder is Councillor Adriana Randall. Thank you.
The additional recommendation is that this item be referred to Group Audit and Risk for further investigation. This is proposed by Councillor Marie Jube. It's seconded by Councillor A.M. Randall. As amended. Okay, so we've also got another confidential report in this supplementary agenda. We are going to leave it for now and go to the second supplementary agenda. We will come back to it at the end with the others that we have packed. So now we go to the second supplementary agenda. There's just two items on this one. The first one is from Office of the Speaker, Oversight Report on 2022-2023 Annual Report of the City of Tshwane and its entities. This report is between page 4 and 722. The recommendations are on page 34. As recommended. Okay, the next report is from Group Financial Services. Councillor Bushelo.
Yeah, I've got one question. I think as the MPEG in the past, we have noted several transgression of laws and regulations. And we know that in the previous one, we delay in terms of the submission of the annual report or annual financial statement. So I just wanted to find out, are we ready this time around to avoid a situation where we are going to submit those financial statements very late? Are we ready now?
I think, City Manager, maybe that's you'd be the relevant person to answer that one.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, we have set out a process plan towards submission of the annual financial statements for auditing by the 31st of August, and we are still on track in terms of that process plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we now move on to report number 2. This is from Group Financial Services Department, Local Government Municipal Finance Management Act 2003, Act 56 of 2003, in-year financial report, monthly and quarterly budget statement for the period ending 30 June 2024. These are preliminary figures. This is between page 723 and page 769. The recommendations are on page 732. As recommended. As recommended. Okay. Sorry, Councillor Sutton, please use your mic. We've got the AG online, so if you don't press, then they can't hear.
Thank you. I just want to acknowledge the CFO and the administration from where we were. I think it was a 14% under collection on the revenue as at the end of December in the 6 months to end with a 2% under collection is good work. So well done on that achievement. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Sutton. We will now move to our third supplementary agenda. This one, there's three reports. The first report is from Roads and Transport. The report on the hiring of 40 PRASA buses and the municipalities' related expenditure for the lease thereof in 2013-2014. This report is between page 4 and page 9. The recommendations are on page 9. So we'll start with questions. Councillor Farquharson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a report of a disaster. The city running out of buses. I think we can only accept that there was necessary measures taken and approve the report. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other? There's no more questions. As recommended. Okay, so we go on to our second report. This is from Group Financial Services Department, Treasury Office, Creditors, Age Analysis. Oh, sorry, Councillor Michelle, was your hand up?
My hand was up, yeah. We are ignoring this side.
No, I'm not ignoring that side, but I apologize for that. I did ask, are there any questions, and you were quiet. Normally when you raise your hand, you'll be like, so my apologies for that. It wasn't my intention to ignore you. Please proceed.
Yeah, the report is indicating that at some point, out of 398 buses, only 101 are operational. We just wanted to find out now, what is the state of buses now? Are we having the full complement of buses on the road? If not, how many are out of the road? And in terms of their age analysis, how many are outside? Those who have already 20 years older. I just wanted to find out how many buses do we have on the road now.
I thank you, Councillor Bushelo. The representative from Roads and Transport, please assist.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Peku Letlonkani. I'm the group at Road and Transport. In relation to the bus complement, at the moment we have a total of 220 buses that are operational. The oldest bus in the fleet is just around 20, but those are in minority. I think about 5% of our bus complement are in excess of 20 years. Average of age of our bus is actually around 12 to 14 years. May just indicate that we did procure buses in 2010, which were about 100, and again 120 in 2013-14 financial year. So average is between 12 and 14 years. Thank you. And we are actually running the full complement of our routes and as per schedule. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Group Head, sorry. As recommended. Okay, so we'll now go to report number 2. This is from Group Financial Services, Treasury Office, Credit Age Analysis as at 30 April 2024. This is between page 10 and 15. Councillor Farquharson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to remind everybody of the recommendation brought earlier that we're going to get a presentation including the plan to get creditors paid within 30 days. So this report I see as kind of a repetition of what we've already discussed. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, we did ask finance, or we will be asking finance, that we must get a presentation on the recovery plan, on the creditors' age analysis, and how they plan to pay companies within 30 days. So that will be done. Councillor Bushelo.
on the age analysis, I could see that the main reason why we are unable to pay within the stipulated time period is that of the liquidity problems or the cash flow problems. I just wanted to find out because at some point they need to prioritize in terms of who to pay and not who to pay. I just wanted to find out how are they prioritizing. Are they doing it on first come, first served basis? Or what criteria are they using to indicate that these service providers need to be paid? That's the questions that I wanted to find out. Because really there is a problem there. And there might be an issue of maybe other service providers being ignored in terms of payments. And the second question is that if we're not paying suppliers on time, I don't know what is the fastest time that they are still owing the suppliers, whether is it 12 months, 3 years, 2 years, and if we are still not paying, are we not attracting the risk or potential risk of not of getting litigations? Whether I just wanted to find out whether are we getting litigated for not paying certain services. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Bushielo. Group Head Finance.
Thank you, Chair. I think firstly, the biggest contributing factor to the amounts due as per our creditors' age analysis is the power utility. You take note that the biggest contributor wherein we have debt in excess of 90 days. All other service providers, we do have systems in place where we are paying them within periods not exceeding the 90 days period. Of course, there are then other processes where we've got internal control issues where in-house we are trying to deal with it. But I can assure you that from a priority perspective, in the event that there is insufficient cash flow, the city has to prioritize rudimentary services and services that are key to service delivery breakdowns and life-threatening issues for the city at large. But that in the recent past has minimized due to the fact that there has been an increase in terms of what we've been collecting, and we have been in a position to ensure that all our service providers are paid quicker than the 90-day period. The biggest contributing factor, like I said earlier on, it is the power utility. Rand Water as a bulk supplier has been mitigated in full. We're currently in current. We are keeping that from last year, November. We do have a sufficient payment plan with power utility, even though there might be litigation matters around that. That's the only creditor whom we are currently at court with, but that process is managed accordingly with Group Legal Services, and there is no risk that we are facing from that perspective. But at the same breath, we are still continuing in terms of implementing our payment arrangement that we have proactively submitted to the power utility. Our stance as a city is to ensure that we do pay them for the electricity that we consume, whether they accept the plan or not, in aid of strengthening our case where we are faced in front of a judge, that the city's willingness is there. We are just struggling from a cash flow perspective. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, thank you. As recommended. Okay, so now we'll move on to our third report. This is from Group Legal and Secretariat Services Department, checklist for consideration of MFMA Section 32 reports by the Municipal Public Accounts Committee. This is between page 16 to 23, recommendations on page 23. As recommended. Yes. Councillor Fak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I've got some comments, and then Councillor Sutton's going to move additional recommendations. First of all, I want to say thank you very, very much for Legal Department to putting this together. It's taken a while to arrive, but they say better late than never. I'm impressed with the legal cases that are cited in this document, and I'm impressed at the way that the legal department has pulled out the gist of each of the cases regarding recovery. This is very important, and I think we're going to have to go on and use this document to change the policy on recovery, but for that I'll leave it to my colleague, Mr. Sutton. But once again, thanks to the legal department. This has been a ray of sunlight in a rather gloomy environment. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Alderman Sutton.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, some additional recommendations to this report, please. Recommendation 1, that the current standard operating procedure be amended to reflect the legal opinions in this report, namely that recovery is the default position. And then recommendation 2, that all reports recommending write-off contain the following information: the measures already taken to recover such expenditure, the cost of the measures already taken to recover such expenditure, and C, the estimated cost and likely benefit for further measures that can be taken to recover such expenditure. Proposed by myself and seconded by Councillor Farquharson. Thank you.
Thank you. The additional recommendation is that the current standard operating procedures be amended to reflect the legal opinions in the report, namely the recovery is the default position. 2, that all reports recommending write-offs contain the following information: measures taken to recover such expenditure. B, the cost of the measures already taken to recover such expenditure. C, the estimated cost and likely benefit of further measures that can be taken to recover such expenditure. This is proposed by Alderman Peter Sutton, seconded by Councillor D. Farquharson. As amended. Okay, so we've come to the end of the third supplementary agenda, but before the other people leave so that we can go into the committee, I will do calling of reports so that it can be noted in case it involves the departments. So are there any councillors calling for reports? Councillor Randall?
Chair, thank you. The report that I'm calling for, the subject is the housing development in Olivenhout Bush Extension 60 and the GS fencing as a contractor. I've written the motivation in terms of when the contract was awarded, when the site was handed over, whether the 447 top structures that was in different milestones are finished, whether there will be a contract extension, whether GS fencing will then finish, or has it been finished, or has it finished the contract by the end of November last year, as that would be the time that the contract would have been over for the 36 months. I'm asking that what must be reported on. I've got 5 questions. If you don't mind, I can quickly just read it out for the benefit of everyone present. 1, please provide a current status report on the Olivenhout Bush Extension 60 447 top structures development. 2, please provide the status of the validity of the current contract with GS fencing. Has it expired, and if yes, was extension granted? If yes, please provide proof of approved contract extension to GS fencing. 3, with the housing subsidy quantum for the 24-25 financial year, or the budget at 176,000 Rand versus the 2022 budget at 141,294 Rand. Please indicate if the possibility of another cost overrun must be expected and if permission via variation order will be requested. 4, please confirm if land use rights are now in place and zoning is correct. 5, if the township establishment process has been completed, please provide evidence and a layout map of the development. Then the second part of my questions, would then be on the missing 18 million that was paid to the first contractor, Makohamishe Building Construction. My 3 questions that I wanted the report to focus on. Please indicate progress made to address the 18 million payment made to mentioned contractor that failed to perform according to the contract conditions. 2, if no progress, please indicate if the 18 million was or will be written off with evidence of the necessary approval received to do so. And 3, will the contractor be blacklisted on the National Treasury's database for restricted suppliers? Proposed by myself, Councillor Randall, seconded by Councillor Rodney Mabusela.